So I took a class in fall 2018 that was for an anti-human trafficking class, and it was just basically like the history, policy, and then awareness on human trafficking. And actually Betty Ann was one of the guest lecturers for the class, and when I heard her voice, I was like, I know that voice. And she was an announcer for one of our games, and I was like, wow, I had no idea that she was a part of this huge organization and that she's an advocate for this. I'd really like to do more and know more about it. So I had a conversation with Betty Ann after the class, and I kind of got to talking about trying to get a human trafficking awareness game. And you know, we spoke to the athletic department, and everyone was really, really helpful and really excited about doing this, because I think it's a really important issue to talk about. And being able to do this as an athlete and with the platform that I have is something that I'm really grateful for.
Human trafficking is considered to be the fastest growing criminal activity in the world, and for people to understand that that means it's actually touching down here in the Bay Area is something that can make them feel really vulnerable. So we actually recognize that in our work we help people kind of identify or actually overcome 4 different myths, right? That human trafficking doesn't just happen to girls, it's happening to boys. Human trafficking doesn't just involve sexual exploitation, it involves labor exploitation. It doesn't involve just foreign nationals. A lot of people think this is just about people coming into the country. It actually happens to American citizens. And the main one is, obviously, you've got to help people understand it doesn't just happen there, it happens here.
The lecture course that I co-teach on human trafficking is designed to consider historical, legal, and medical perspectives on human trafficking. Betty Ann Boving is one of our speakers every year who comes to talk about her experience in the anti-trafficking world.
So one of the places that we're very passionate about training and raising awareness about this issue is actually with what we would call primary intervention players. Those people who, when they go to work every day, when they get dressed in their uniform, they are most likely to see a human trafficking victim. So we're talking about hotels, restaurants, apartment complexes like property managers, airports. When those people are going to work every day, there is a good chance they may encounter somebody who is a human trafficking victim. And so one of the things we think about is, what do they need to know so that they could be helpful in that situation? If you go up to any front desk employee at a hotel and tell them what human trafficking is and that we're looking for it here in the Bay Area, most front desk employees will tell you, oh yeah, I've seen some pretty interesting stuff here. And by that they mean somebody coming in with different women, different nights, somebody paying by cash, somebody with lots of cash, lots of towels being used in the room, finding all sorts of things in the garbage, things like that, that can alert them to the fact that there is exploitation happening there and that multiple people are visiting that hotel room. Indicators
of human trafficking vary depending on the type of human trafficking that we're considering, be it sex trafficking or labor trafficking. Some of the indicators for sex trafficking, for example, are seeing young women who don't seem to know where they aren't in control of what they're doing. Maybe someone else who is older and probably, but not always male, is speaking for them. They may be in inappropriate clothing for the place. They may be checking into a hotel with no luggage and several older men. In situations of labor trafficking, it's things that you might notice, and it might just come from your gut that something doesn't feel right here.
I'm more aware of my surroundings, of the people around me. I'm more aware when I go to airports and in areas that you might see someone who's being trafficked. I'm also more aware of my objects that I own, my items that I own, the things that I'm buying, where I'm sourcing my things from, and I'm telling other people about it. I think that's really cool about this class, is that you're just spreading your network, and you can use your networks to continue telling other people about it and trying to just boost the awareness for this issue.
While we are living with such freedoms and abilities to move about, we have freedom of movement, freedom of thought, freedom of expression, and yet people in our very own midst are frozen in the reality of slavery and human trafficking, where they are not allowed to go wherever they want. They have somebody controlling their time, what they eat, where they sleep, and that's happening right here. And so we often then can move to a place where we say, well, then this has got to be a law enforcement response, right? You need law enforcement to find these folks and arrest the bad guys and set these people free. But human trafficking is hidden in plain sight. What happens with it is it's in our neighborhoods, and yet it takes everyday citizens of just noticing patterns of life that all of a sudden when something is a little bit awry, that's where tips come from that then law enforcement can really act on. So we always encourage people to have the National Human Trafficking Hotline number in their phones. The number is 888-3737-888. Call the hotline, call 911, ask questions, never putting yourself in harm's way, but understanding that what you're seeing can actually make a difference to set someone free.